Well, first to some developing news this morning affecting millions of household budgets across multiple states. Energy regulators have confirmed the default market offer will rise by as much as 9.7% from July 1.
New South Wales customers are expected to be the hardest hit, but electricity prices are also expected to rise across South Australia, Queensland and Victoria. Our political reporter Pablo Vinales is at Parliament House for us this morning and across the details. Pablo, what do we know?
James, good morning. Well, some difficult news for consumers. The energy regulator, as you say, releasing the default market offer for 2025-26. So this is a safety net price for households and small businesses on standing offer plans. And it will impact people in New South Wales, Southeast Queensland and South Australia. So it acts as a reference, a reference price for all other market offers in these regions. And to give you an indication of some of the price hikes that people in these areas can expect, I'll talk you through some of these increases that will come into effect from July 1. In Southeast Queensland, an increase of 0.5 to around 3.7%. In South Australia, 2.3 to around 3.2%, and New South Wales bearing the brunt of an increase of 8.3% to around 9.7%. Now, for small business customers on standing offer plans as well, they will also can also expect an increase of around 0.8% to 8.5%, depending on the region that they are in. Now, we heard earlier this morning from the chair of the energy regulator, Claire Savage, who says that the reason behind these increases, behind this decision, which she has described as difficult, is because of a change in the cost of making and transporting power.
What we've seen is there's been stronger, so there's lots of things that go into a retail bill. The cost of making power, so in generation, has been higher in New South Wales. Retailers, the people who sell it to you, they buy forward contracts in there against sort of spot prices in the market, and those forward contracts have been higher, and some of that's to do with less reliable coal plant that's been running in New South Wales, so it can fall over sometimes and drive big price spikes.
Now, we should stress that 9.7% figure that has been released is the worst case scenario, and Claire Savage encouraging consumers to shop around as they brace for this change.
Yeah, most people are not on these offers, and shopping around is the right thing to do. It is good advice. Thank you very much for that, Pablo.
Now let's get more on that breaking news out of Melbourne this morning, where two teenagers have been charged over what police have described as a gang-related brawl involving machetes at a busy shopping centre. Stephanie Ferrier is on the scene for us. Good morning, Steph. What's the latest update we've had from police?
Good morning, Bridget. Yes, two males have been charged with a number of offences, including a fray, conduct endangering life, as well as possess and use a controlled weapon. Now, they are going to be facing a children's court at a later date. They've been remanded in custody, and a 20-year-old man with serious stab wounds is now in a stable condition following this brawl here at the Northland Shopping Centre, which is about 9 kilometres northeast of Melbourne CBD. Another two males, including one who was injured, then self-presented to hospital after this fight, and terrified shoppers have described in detail about how they saw people wildly waving about machetes as they scrambled to take a shelter behind counters, as well as racing to the exits for their lives. And we've heard from Superintendent Kelly Lawson of Victoria Police. She says that this was actually a planned meet-up between two rival gangs.
Members of the public, it would have been absolutely frightening to witness what they saw today on a Sunday afternoon. Parents with their children, absolutely frightening, and they should not have been exposed to what we saw here today.
And Steph, this was a shocking instance of knife crime with that machete ban coming up in Victoria. What do we know about when that is slated to begin?
Well, it is expected to come into a force in September. However, the Premier Jacinta Allen and the Police Minister Anthony Carbines are holding a press conference imminently. So one wonders whether or not, given the events that have happened, particularly with knife crime here in the state, that they are going to fast-track that ban coming into force. Now, that's something that the opposition leader Brad Batten has been calling for. He says that the fact that we still have to wait for months is an insult to every Victorian that cares about their safety. And police, who are still looking for a number of youths that are on the run from this brawl, say that it's no secret that they have been wanting this ban to come in as soon as possible, given the fact that they are now having to deal with up to 40 youth gangs across Victoria.
Steph, thanks very much. Let's get more now on the floods in New South Wales with Emma.
That's right, thank you. Well, the emergency warnings have now been lifted. Rainfall is easing in New South Wales as residents begin cleaning up. Our reporter Chloe Chimicki joins us now from Port Macquarie. Chloe, good morning. So what's the latest from the floods there?
Good morning, Emma. Well, in the coming days, support will be coming online for those flood-ravaged communities along New South Wales mid-coast, mid-north coast rather, particularly in Taree. That will be the first community where a recovery centre will be open tomorrow, followed by Port Macquarie, Kempsey, Maxville and Maitland. And what these centres will be for is helping people who have been inundated, if they've lost important personal documents, helping them replace them, providing legal assistance, providing insurance assistance as people navigate making insurance claims, and of course that mental health support, which is really increasingly needed as we're starting to hear from mayors from areas like Taree about the welfare concern, particularly multi-generational farmers who have lost almost everything in this flood emergency. And what we've seen today and yesterday is access being restored to some of the communities that have been isolated for days since the peak of that flooding last week. And one of those communities that have been isolated is across the water behind me, Port Macquarie's North Shore. So the ferries have been out for days. And in that community on the North Shore, there's about 200 homes that the local Rural Fire Service estimate have been flood affected. The ferry behind me, its cable snapped during the peak of this flood, and the other ferry only got back up and running yesterday. So there's been an anxious wait for help to clean up, but also supplies with the reopening of the Pacific Highway yesterday as well. We've seen some communities, the first fresh bread and milk that they've had since the beginning of this event finally going through. So, and those fodder drops as well for livestock has been crucial as well. So that's still all ongoing. But the scale of this disaster, we know authorities have said there's 10,000 properties that are believed to be flood affected that need to be inspected. And already, Emma, about 400 at least have been declared uninhabitable. And just lastly, I'll tell you, the New South Wales Education Department says 109 schools are reopening today.
Okay, that is good news for lots of families there. Thank you. Well, South Australia's bracing for severe storms as the Weather Bureau forecasts potential wind gusts of up to 125 kilometres an hour. A vigorous cold front is crossing the SA coast this morning and could also bring large swells and rain. Coercive control will become a criminal offence in Queensland from today under new family violence laws. The laws make it illegal for an adult to use a pattern of controlling behaviours toward a current or former partner, family member or informal carer. Those convicted under the laws would face a maximum penalty of up to 14 years jail. GPs in New South Wales will soon be able to diagnose and treat people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The state government will fund the training of 1,000 doctors to treat the condition in both children and adults. Previously, patients would need a referral to a specialist to receive a diagnosis and treatment. Germany's foreign minister has declared Vladimir Putin is not interested in peace in the wake of Russia's latest attacks on Ukraine. Johann van der Pfeil called on Western governments to issue additional sanctions on Russia, which launched the largest aerial attack yet seen in the conflict on Sunday. Russia fired a barrage of 367 drones at various cities, killing at least 12 people. Foreign ministers from Arab and European nations have gathered in Spain to talk about how to end Israel's war in Gaza. Before the Madrid meeting, Spain's foreign minister said the international community should consider sanctions against Israel. The meeting comes as health authorities in Gaza say Israel's most recent military strikes have killed at least 30 Palestinians across the enclave. Brisbane baker Brooke Bellamy has broken her online silence in the wake of a cookbook controversy with Recipe Tin Eats founder Nagi Maharshi. Maharshi alleged Bellamy's cookbook plagiarised her caramel slice and baklava recipes, a claim that Bellamy has denied. Nearly a month later, Bellamy has posted on social media that her recipes are inspired by somewhere or someone and she didn't invent them. And Kiwi pop sensation Lorde has stunned fans in Sydney with a surprise appearance at a Lorde-themed club night. The star crashed the event at Mary's Underground, dancing and singing to her own songs alongside revellers.